Hey guys, it's your boy Zaya back for another video. Today we've got half and half Deku, half water, half lightning. I know I've seen Zeba put it out, but I've had it scripted from way before then, so I might as well. So, big up JustoM for another thumbnail. And let's just get this started. Our story starts a few days after young Izuku Midoriya was born into the hands of Inko Midoriya. Hisashi had left, saying he could not raise a child. In this timeline, Inko and Hisashi were younger. They didn't want Midoriya or Izuku. He was an accident. And one day, Inko just couldn't take it anymore. She'd had enough. She looked at Izuku, she went over to the balcony, and she threw him off. She was going to kill young Izuku. But then a woman was passing by. She was having her son in a stroller. And just as Izuku fell, he landed in this woman's stroller. Two babies now in the same stroller. This woman was Rei Todoroki. They saw this as a sign or from God that this baby deserves to live. So she knew what she had to do. Knowing that she was the wife of the number 2 hero, she had connections. She forged a fake birth certificate for this child. Claimed that he was the twin of Todoroki. For this day was also the day young Shoto was born. Izuku and Shoto Todoroki, twins born on this day. At least that's what they would tell Endeavor. She walks home. And Endeavor saw this as maybe a sign? He didn't really care, but he thought 2 chances for the perfect specimen. This will have me finally get my child to beat All Might. A few years later, around the age of 3, young Shoto and Izuku Todoroki are playing with blocks. Endeavor watches, arms crossed, his flames flickering faintly. 2 prodigies, 2 perfect experiments, one born of fire and ice, the other from storm and sea. Shoto giggles, his hand was suddenly igniting with small flames. He panics, and Izuku instinctively fires water from his palm to it. That way, the flames could be cooled. Not cooled, but you know what I mean, they would die down. But the steam fills the air. Endeavor's eyes widen. Water from a Todoroki? Ray freezes. Endeavor looks between them, calculating. Then he says, I know what you did, woman, but I don't mind. But then, back on the boys, Shoto's hand turns that same water into ice. He yelps. Shoto, and Izuku slams his own hand down on that said ice, lightning surging out, breaking the ice apart. The brothers stare in shock. That day, lightning met ice, water met fire. At the quirk doctor, the twins sit side by side. The doctor announces that Shoto Todoroki has the quirk half hot, half cold. And Izuku Todoroki has the quirk half shock, half... Actually, what's a good name for this quirk? Half shock, half... What's water do? Half burst, half wet, I don't know. You guys can decide in the comment, I don't mind. Endeavor smirks, a rare sight. 2 perfect specimens. He looks at Rei, eyes burning. You've done well, woman. Rei forces a fake smile, hiding the guilt that she thinks Endeavor still doesn't know about. From that day, the house wasn't a home anymore. It was a forge, and Endeavor was the hammer. Years later, the 2 are training. Endeavor's shouting, again, harder Izuku. Izuku firing bursts of lightning underwater to increase his own resistance. Shoto's freezing lakes, now using his fire back at him this time. This is before the incident that got Todoroki. Shoto his scar, Izuku standing, soaked and sparkling, smiling slightly at Endeavor. While Endeavor just nods, Toya watches in silence. and very quiet, distant, eyes full of regret. But not really. She thinks she still saved his life. The stronger they got, the more everyone else disappeared. Toya's flames, Ray's warmth, everything burned away until only the twins were left. The day the scar happened, a normal day until screaming. Ray loses control, seeing Endeavor's face in Todoroki. Shoto, I mean. Izuku runs in, horrified. He shouts, "Shoto!" He runs to him, lightning crackling around him. Ray trembles, dropping the kettle. That was the day their family broke. But Izuku, he broke differently. He stares at Shoto's burn on his eye. Then, he sparks his own lightning and presses it against his shoulder, searing a small scar above his eye as well. "Now we match," he said. Shoto stares through tears. Pain shared isn't pain erased, but it was the only way he knew how to stay a brother. Years later, the two are teens now. Izuku trains in the rain, punching Volta, lightning fusing into gold bolts through blue waves. Endeavor watching from the window, nodding. "Perfect form, perfect discipline," he says. He glances at Shoto training nearby, who's still refusing to use his fire side. And the Endeavor just can think, that's imperfection. He has such a powerful quirk, yet he refuses to use it. Izuku hears, turns smirking faintly, not cruelly, but proud. He wanted respect, not love, not praise, just that one nod. Shoto, meanwhile, grows colder. Their sparring becomes brutal. Ice walls, water jets, lightning bursts. Izuku never holds back. "Do not hate him, Shoto. He's making us stronger. He made us weapons," Shoto responded to Izuku's. And Izuku had just responded with, "And weapons win. Isn't that what Dad always says?" We time skip. For 10 months have passed. And now it's time for the recommendation entrance exam. Shoto, Wind Guy, Inasa, I don't know what his name is, Momo, Izuku, the perfect sons of Japan's number 2 hero, and the storms that would change everything. Robots swarm the field. Shoto freezes half. Izuku melts the rest with conducted lightning through his water, the water carrying electricity across the battlefield. Massive explosions of steam and sparks. "What the hell was that?" the Wind Guy said. 2 quirks, 1 storm. He ranked first, Izuku I mean, and Shoto came second in that test. Back home he rushes to Endeavor. "I did it, father. I ranked first." "As expected, boy." Izuku's smile falters. Lightning flickers faintly in frustration. For some reason, praise was oxygen for Izuku. Disappointment was fuel. It's time for the first day of UA. New uniforms, new class, new stairs. Izuku and Shoto walk in. They walk in together, but Shoto instantly separates from his brother. Then, Izuku's blue and yellow eyes are noticed by someone. A boy who goes by the name Kirishima. He says, "Those eyes are manly, bro." And the two of them just dap each other up. But then when Izuku accidentally shocks him, Kaminari notices, saying, "Yo, bro, you got lightning too?" And Izuku just said, "You could say I had that to an extent." They bump fists, sparks and static flaring. Bakugo glares from across the room. What's the yellow and blue-eyed poser?" And Shoto just responds quietly, "My brother." Yue didn't know it yet, but they just accepted 2 sides of the same storm. Now time for the apprehension thing. On the ball throw, I would say, actually, yeah, Izuku would do pretty good, because I could see him like making a Walter arm claw thing and just throwing it, and I think that would be really dope. So I'd say, and then Izuku's fast because he has lightning. Yeah, actually, I would actually argue Izuku comes first, yeah. Izuku first, Todoroki second, Bakugo third, Momo fourth, and everyone else from there. And then, the next day, All Might comes into the door, yelling, "I am here." And this was... Izuku didn't really like All Might because he looks up to Endeavor and Endeavor's ideals. But anyways, for the battle trial arc, it's Izuku and Shoto versus Bakugo and Ida. And well, it's a clean sweep. The two of them, they have chemistry, Izuku and Shoto. They work together really well, even though they're not really friends, they're more like rivals. But the training, the conditioning, it's just made them really good at working together. So they beat Bakugo, and Bakugo just says, "Oh, what are these two? Pathetic. I'll beat you next time." Now it's time for the USJ on the bus ride. I can see that conversation on who's the strongest being more between Izuku and Shoto. And well, I think the class would come to a consensus that Izuku is stronger. And then, when it's time for when the villains invade, Izuku gets sent to the water part, which is kind of his best friend in this scenario. He can manipulate the water, he can also shock it, since water's a conductor, which all the villains will basically just drown at that point if they get knocked out. But Izuku just solos that part. He doesn't even need Tsuyu to save him. So yeah, he gets out and then he sees the Nomu. Him, Shoto, Bakugo and Kirishima, they all go in, try to save themselves. And eventually, they actually manage to beat it. Although barely, it's on its last leg, one punch from All Might and it's dead. And then All Might arrives, finishes the fight. And Izuku just says he wasn't meant to be a savior. He was built to be a hero, a storm. Now time for the UA Sports Festival, and Bakugo gives his speech because Izuku did recommendation exam. For the obstacle course, Walter slides between Izuku's feet. Lightning bursts, boosts his dashes. He comes first at the end of the day, because Shoto's ice he can just break with his lightning, and he's faster than Shoto because he has lightning. And then for cavalry battles, since he's first, people will be on him. But I can still see him winning. He's probably who would he go with? Kaminari, Kirishima, and anyone with a water quirk? Nah, I don't think so. Oh yeah, Tsuyu. Yeah, that's who he'll go with. And yeah, they managed to keep the headband. For the first match against Shinso, nothing really can be said to rage bait. Yeah, nothing can really be said to rage bait Izuku into Tolkien, because he takes the Tail Boy's advice. And, he's not getting rage baited like Norris or Emmett in a Zebra livestream. And then for the fight with Todoroki, this is where it gets good. This fight determines a lot. The longer-awaited clash between twins, Fire and Ice versus Water and Lightning. Izuku goes in, sprinting in for a punch. Todoroki puts his ice wall up. He's not using his flames yet. He's still scared of them. Izuku's just running. He tries to attack. He tries using his water. He breaks the ice, but Todoroki attacks back, using his ice to get in Izuku's face. But at the end of the day, no one knows who'll win. They're pretty evenly matched, although Izuku does have the upper hand. Izuku then yells, "Use your flames, Shoto! Stop being scared of them! You sound just like him!" Izuku, Shoto said in response. "Then prove me wrong. You don't have to be like Dad, but you can be better." Endeavor watches, pride glowing in his eyes. Then he yells, "Shoto! Use it!" or something. And then Shoto's flames activate. He starts bursting them out. They're getting faster, harder for Izuku to dodge. And it hits Izuku straight in the stomach. Izuku has to cool them off with water, charging in. Now it's an actual fight. Izuku goes in for a lightning punch, but Todoroki might have blocked it, but he didn't expect that was only half the plan. Izuku's close enough to coat Todoroki in water, soaking him. Todoroki's just pissed by it, but then Izuku shoots out lightning from his hand. It's a beam, and that lightning conducts on the water, shocking Todoroki. He gets knocked out. Izuku wins, but after hair. He doesn't celebrate. He looks at Shoto, nods. Shoto nods back barely. An unconscious nod. And then Izuku's declared the winner of that match. In the match against Bakugo, Izuku wins. I'm not even covering it. Just know Izuku wins. Now they must choose their hero names. I don't even think Izuku would choose a hero name. What was Todoroki's hero name? Just Shoto? Izuku could just go by Izuku. Or let's call him the Storm Tsunami hero. Izuku. Just something simple. When Izuku goes to Endeavor's agency, and while he's there, him and Todoroki get to Stain, but it's already too late, and Ida's basically dead, like he's on death's doorstep. Izuku tries to beat Stain, but Stain escapes, and Izuku's too late to stop it. Ida dies. He kneels beside him, lightning flickering in the rain. Heroes die when they stop moving, he says. And that's when the Todoroki twins, for the first time in years, embraced each other in tears. That death really broke something. Now it's time for the final exams, and we're going to do Izuku and Shoto versus special guest who Nezu brought out, Endeavor. They both are shocked. They're fighting their father, and when the match begins, Izuku doesn't want to do it. But yet, they still go in. Izuku coats Endeavor and water. Todoroki freezing their water into ice. The two of them continue trying to fight, using their quirks, from fire against fire to lightning on fire to water on fire to water and ice on that same fire. They still can't win. It resorts to them thinking they may have to use the capture tape. But then suddenly, the two of them realise they're still working separately. And then they lock in. They actually connect. They both start working in tandem, using that training that Endeavor's been giving them for years. And eventually, although Endeavor isn't defeated, he is captured in that tape. Now it's time for the forest training camp. Honestly, I really don't like covering this part of the arc. Just know Koda dies because Izuku's not that compassionate to go with him, so Muscular kills Koda, and Bakugo's still captured. After Bakugo is cancelled, Izuku, Shoto, Momo, Ida, and Kirishima all go to save him. I don't know how they did it. I haven't watched them play Chain in a long time. But they freed Bakugo. I think they made the base with, disguises or something. And they ended up getting Bakugo back. And just as the base explodes, someone else survives. He is here. All for one. And All Might stand face by face. And All for One actually manages to get one of the Todoroki twins in his hand, threatening he'll kill him if All Might doesn't let him leave. This twin was the wrong one for All for One to take. It was Izuku. Izuku can just say, I already have power, and I already have someone to follow. All for One just says, Endeavor? No, myself, Izuku responds, breaking out of All for One's clutch and shooting him with lightning. Suddenly his brother comes in from behind, hitting him with an ice attack. Then Shigaraki comes, his decay powers flaring. Izuku, All Might, and Shoto verse All for One and Todoroki. But then the wielder of One for All arrives, Mirio Togata. It's a 4v2. The battle's intense. Izuku having a quirk awakening, what he calls storm mode. Water circles around his body, lightning pulsing, yellow through blue's tides. Shoto mastering both sides in that same moment, both standing before All for One as equals, with Mirio behind. But one last time, they each say, it's Shoto and Izuku, I mean. They clash with combined elements, Inferno Tempest versus Thunder and Thunder Requiem. The twins charge in. Mirio charges right behind them, phasing through Shigaraki. All for One screams in rage. Izuku yells, "We're Todorokis, born from fire, shaped by storm." But when Izuku says Todorokis, All for One just laughs, saying, "You don't know, do you? You're adopted. You're not a Todoroki." But then Izuku says, "Just because I might not have that blood, doesn't mean I'm not one. I've known for years." And then Requiem and Tempest, Thunder and Inferno, the sea and the ice, all combine into one last punch, covering All Might's hands. All four of those abilities, and then Mirio's new move with the power of One for All, which lets him turn other people permeable. It makes All Might go straight through All for One, and then at the back of his head, All Might hits him with a Texas smash. All for One dies. Shigaraki faints in the sight of it. Shigaraki is taken to jail. Silence. Izuku collapses beside Shoto. And then Shoto just says, "You're adopted? Seriously? Since when?" Born from this lightning and mortar, forged by fire and dice. Two storms that never stop clashing until peace finally thundered. Izuku Todoroki, Shoto Todoroki. These two boys were legends. I hope you all enjoyed that video. I wrote this ages ago before Zeb even made his, and I never watched Zeb's, so if this has, if it's similar to Zeb's, I'm gonna be pissed because I'm gonna watch this after now. His after now. Anyways, love you all. I hope you enjoyed. Praise the Lord.